Hey friends, hey everyone, mabuhay and kamusta ka. This is my video and my reflection on my time in the Philippines and what I had to learn. What are the special things? What are the flowers versus the weeds, and what makes the Philippines a healthy, happy, and or sustainable place? Now, as a lot of you know, I am on this travel with the goal in mind of visiting healthy places and inspired from the blue zones, where the healthiest, maybe some could argue, happiest people around the world live. These are various hotspots, and to be honest, to be fair, the Philippines is not recognized as one of them, and the Philippines does not have a blue zone within it. It's hard to say if there's a blue zone hiding inside of the Philippines. It certainly is a really magical and beautiful place. And my focus with Pursue to Better, it's to identify again, what are the good things, what are the positive things, and what separates the flowers from the weeds. And there are already enough negative and bad things out there to talk about, so let's focus on the good things. As some of you might have seen in a separate video about my challenges and struggles in the Philippines, getting sick 2 times during being there almost for about a month, we could definitely talk about some weeds. There are definitely some frustrating things about my time there. But I don't want to focus on that. That's not the point of this. There's a separate video for that, so if you want to watch that, check that out. Let's focus on the good stuff. I spoke with as many people as I could, and was staying with some locals, sometimes via couch surfing, and ultimately I came up with this list of, what are some of the top things from my experience and my perspective about what makes the Philippines a healthy, happier, sustainable place. So let's dive in. Number one, I think something that makes me reflect about the second book, Blue Zones of Happiness. What I think is so interesting about the Philippines is that, at least on the surface, as a non-local person, it seems like a very happy and joyous place. You see spontaneous singing and karaoke numerous times. I probably can't even count it on, both hands. There was spontaneous singing in the streets. I saw people doing their jobs and kind of humming and singing to themselves. Lots of people almost at every social event singing together, doing karaoke together. I don't know if it's all just a show. Let's assume not. But it's really impressive, because I think there's obviously differences between happiness and satisfaction and joy, but I think that's terribly impressive that there's this great sense of spontaneous joy there through food, through singing, through play, through the nature. From what I've heard, generally, let's say life satisfaction and contentment maybe isn't quite as high in the Philippines, because it sounds like life can be very hard and tough there. Things are not perfect, and there are a lot of challenges with infrastructure and system and pollution and littering and that sort of thing. But this sense of spontaneous joy and just an explosion of happiness and just enjoying life for what it is, that was terribly impressive. That was a shocking thing for me, for example, when I spent quite a lot of time in Scandinavia, when I went to Iceland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden. Often these places are ranked as some of the happiest places on earth. But to be honest, besides sometimes the colorful buildings that you see in postcards and pictures, I felt something was a bit missing. There was this missing sense of joy and of happiness, and there didn't feel like there was as much freedom and creativity and just this sense of joy. That's something in the Philippines that you kind of can't miss. There's like music and parties and social life and people getting together constantly, and that's just really impressive. Number two, kindness, generosity, and just the willingness to give and share. The Philippines very likely doesn't make it into the G7 or the G20 of the global top countries of strongest economies or wealth, productivity, or whatever. And I mean that more in a sense of there's not necessarily so much wealth and prosperity around in the Philippines. Regardless of that lack of material wealth and material success, people are so generous and they're so kind, and they're seemingly just willing to give a lot. And funny enough, counterintuitive, I'd say, to the West, they're even more willing to give to random people, to tourists, to foreigners, to strangers. I found that very impressive in my time there. I think, again, counter to, let's say, maybe a more Scandinavian model, where it's perhaps sometimes a bit more of focusing on, let's get ourselves together, let's get everything figured out for us, let's get everything sorted for our people and our country. And it can sometimes be a bit isolating and perhaps a bit self-focused. I was really impressed at just how kind and generous the Filipinos were to just random strangers on the street. I think that's an incredible, wonderful thing. All right, number 3, an incredible, beautiful mix and I guess you could say hybrid of multiple cultures, languages, dialects. Due to the Philippines' history being a Spanish colony, then being sort of handed off and kind of being connected with the Americans and the US, and then being taken over at some point by the Japanese in World War II, and then being sort of liberated, and then being connected to the US and America again, and then being their own country. It's an incredible hybrid mixture of different languages, different cuisines, different cultures, different dialects. Again, there's something, I forget what it is, 7,000 plus islands in the Philippines. This is really impressive how much of a mix and hybrid of cultures. I think there's more than like 5,000 Spanish words in a Tagalog in the Filipino language. There's lots of English as well. So it's really just impressive to see how, people you wouldn't expect, a little bit more senior and elderly people, how well they can speak. They can speak English on demand. It's very cool to see such a beautiful mix of different languages and cultures mixed together. Number 4, they put a lot of value, a high value on family, community, friends, this social life, social atmosphere. That was also incredibly impressive, how much time they spent with their friends, with their family, with their community. There's a lot of Filipinos that they'll go and work abroad, work in different countries. It's a great way for them to earn more money and send money back to their family, to their community, to their friends and family. And that's an incredible sacrifice that I think a lot of people maybe wouldn't be willing to do unless they had to. And yet there's still such a high value on community and family. And they have this extended family concept where they bring you as a stranger into their family, into their friends and social group. I was hosted by a couch surfer for more than a week when I wasn't feeling well. They took me around to just about every social event they could. And these were like, very personal, immediate friends and family social events. I was like a kind of honored guest at these things. Yeah, just really, really impressive to see how welcome I was at a lot of these events. Number 5. High ranking on the expats, insiders, I believe it's called Internations report. This is a report that looks at basically where are some of the best places for expats, expatriates, and internationals to live. And the Philippines is very highly ranked on this report. And this ultimately comes back to the fact, again, this friendliness, this welcomeness. Let me see here. Sunny skies, a blissful retirement, incredible friendliness of the locals, easy to find and make and create new friends and new friendships. And another thing could be a very bad thing for the locals, but for expats and for foreigners, the cost of living in the Philippines is very low. This is controversial because obviously a bunch of expats coming in and bringing in lots of money and pricing out a lot of the locals. But again, it's the whole pie. A lot of really impressive things that I got to witness there firsthand that do fit that description. So this one's quite interesting. Number 6, it's the highest ranking country in Asia on a study in a report that looks at gender parity, gender equality in Asia. And so in the region, it is number 2 or number 3 behind New Zealand and Australia. The Philippines is very high in gender equality and gender parity, meaning that women are given and are able to receive better opportunities, are more empowered. I did notice this. It's kind of hard to really see this or experience this, but you definitely got a sense that women had a much more important role in society and were much more valued and respected. But just reading a little bit about this report, it's very impressive to see that still a developing country, developing nation is able to do such a good job in this world. So that's really positive, this gender parity and gender equality. Number 7, absolutely magical nature. If you go to YouTube or go to the internet and you look up anything about the Philippines, you'll mostly find stuff around the epic, beautiful nature, national parks, the snorkeling, the scuba diving, the beaches and the ocean, the weather, the sunshine. It is really, really incredible and really impressive. So we don't need to talk too much about that. Just go watch a few videos and you'll see what I'm talking about. And now to sum it all up, I think again with the Philippines and why this ends up being a very, very happy place. Depends on how you define happiness. Perhaps I'd say more of a joyous place. The lesson to be learned there is just their openness, their welcomeness, their kindness, their diligence and their hard work. They're seemingly, from everything I learned and everything I experienced and everything I read, incredible level of hard work and discipline. Likely they're working harder than some of us in the West. There's still such a great sense of focus on community, family, generosity, sharing, caring, giving back. And it's again just a really impressive feat, a really impressive accomplishment that regardless of their material wealth or their status, or that they're still so kind and open and generous. And I'm now in Japan, and from what I've been researching and learning and studying, it can be, of course, quite different in other countries. I'm really enjoying my time in Japan, but I've already gotten the sense early and upfront that there's a much bigger barrier to get into the culture here, to get to know the people. Whereas in the Philippines, it's like you're welcomed in as family from day one. And thanks to my couch surfer who helped nurse me back to health, I was able to, still have a really, really good time there, even though for almost half of my time I was sick and under the weather. So again, those are the lessons, those are the ideas and the positive, uplifting, inspiring flowers from the Philippines, and why I would really recommend you check it out as a place to experience joy, experience happiness, and continue being curious. Get out there and learn and share your thoughts and ideas with me. I'd love to hear them. So, hey, take care. Upcoming soon here are going to be some videos about Okinawa and the Blue Zone. So check those out. Coming up here soon.